Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nails and Beauty Talk. I am your host, Asia the Bird. To have a very special guest with me today, she is the creator of Nailcon. Please welcome Jazmin Gresham. Hello, Jazmin, and
Thank
welcome to the show.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Asia, for having me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your patience. So
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
excited for today's chat. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. You're most welcome. So I definitely want to kick off this interview by asking where you're originally from. Tell us a little about your upbringing. How'd you get started in the nail industry?
Oh, so I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I'm from the North Side, Wrigley area.
Mhm.
And nails has been my thing since I was 14, my freshman year of high school. I would go get my nails done with my mom, of course, right? That's how it always starts off,
Right. Yeah.
very personal. And I just really liked it. It was a really great and fun way for me to be able to express myself, my character, especially because my style has always been very kind of business casual. Like I'm always ready kind of for whatever, whenever. And I was
Mhm.
always like that even in high school.
Right.
So, yeah, nails is just my way of just being different, setting myself apart. Um, it was just part of my character. I thought it was just like really, really cool, all the different things you can do. And I'm like,
Right.
14 years old, and I was religious with it. A
Right.
good every 2 to 3 weeks, like
Right.
didn't care. So yeah.
Yeah. That's really, really cool. So what was your school experience like? Did you go to college, university? And if so, like what did you study?
So as far as my education, I actually got my degree in fashion marketing and management. I initially went away to college, a very like traditional,
Mhm.
university,
Mhm.
very, very traditional private school. And in the mix of that, I realized that, well, I always knew I wanted to work in fashion. So that's kind of like my background. So I
Mhm.
always knew I wanted to work in fashion. What that looked like, I wasn't too sure. But I went away to school initially to actually major in, it was eventually going to be, it initially was going to be like chemistry with a minor in economics, but then
Mm.
I went into more of the social path and minor in economics. And then I did an internship one day in Chicago under Cure
Mhm.
Chicago, and I made a really, really good friend who was like, "Oh, I think you should go to school for fashion." So then I switched, I turned everything over, went to school for fashion marketing management, and from
Mhm.
there, yeah, that was kind of more it. It definitely wasn't on
Mhm.
this path, and I really want to be able to understand the business side of it. So very
Right.
different, but I guess still in the same world. But like no matter
Mhm.
what, I always wore my nails, even away at school. Like I didn't care. I always wore my nails.
That's cool. Like, what school did you go to?
So I actually went to Illinois Institute of Arts, Chicago.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool, cool.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really, really cool. I definitely want to go ahead and push forward and talk about Nelcon. So, how did Nelcon get started?
Yes. So initially, Nelcon, which she'll be 4 years old this summer, really exciting, August 16th. But
Congrats.
it really came, thank you. It really just was founded off of a love for what I was already doing. So prior to
Mhm.
founding it, I had spent about a good like a year and a half, 2 years traveling to like different cities, different countries, getting my nails done, vlogging these nail artists. This was a time when like stories was just becoming a thing on Instagram.
Right.
So I would vlog my experience, my nail process wherever I was visiting. It was like also just a great way to take people along with me during my day.
Hmm.
And I started preparing for grad school, going back to education. I started preparing for grad school. Grad school was not working out. And by that time, I was like, okay, well, I got to slow down all these nails because it gets expensive. And I was
Right.
literally like taking flights every month. Like it was crazy. Shout out to my
Wow.
best friend. He was actually a flight attendant. So I was able to have his pass. I had my own pass. So I was
Wow.
like, oh, booking, I'll be out.
Right.
So fine, fast forward, grad school didn't work out. I got my rejection letter and I felt so good. I felt really, really good.
Right.
I was
Right.
looking at two
Yeah.
schools overseas and I just remember like being at
Hmm.
my kitchen table and having a conversation with somebody and they were like, you really need to get back into your nails. And I was like, yo, if I was to do something with
Hmm.
nails, also at that time I was preparing to go to BeautyCon and we were talking about BeautyCon. And I
Hmm.
was like, if I were to do something with nails, I want something smart, viable, cool, fun.
Right.
And I would call it NailCon. And then NailCon just popped into my head just like that.
Hmm.
And that's how NailCon was born. We initially started doing
Hmm.
like fun parties throughout the city. especially primarily in Brooklyn. And we would like bring in different
Mhm.
DJs, rotate them out. We bring in a nail artist. People like get complimentary manicures, and we put like sometimes put the DJ and the manicures, they be on the same set or whatever.
Mhm.
That became a thing. Then we did Art Basel, our first Art Basel, that's 2019. What a
Mhm.
great experience. We had great partnerships. And then COVID hit. Once COVID hit, I realized that we really needed a change. And that's when we got into Nailcon Media, really focusing on more trend conversations, editorial pieces, giving more of that look and scene, and just
Mhm.
focusing on the aesthetic of that. And then once we kind of got out of, I don't want to say, I still feel like we're in a pandemic. Just me. But I would definitely say we began getting into events about a year and a half ago. Start kicking things off with our first virtual event with Booksy. We did a really, really fun nail virtual conference.
Mhm.
And then from there, just everything has just been, it's been up.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's
up
been
from
a really
there.
good time. It's been up. Yeah, it's been such a
Yeah.
great time. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that you're really big into is nail education. So that's part of the NailCon mission is educating nail artists and the masses. So how
yeah.
important is nail education, and what is your take in regards to nail education and how it's grown?
Well, one, I think nail education is definitely it's growing expeditiously. You're seeing more educators, trainers, people
Mhm.
really looking for advanced education. A lot of different just city states are cracking down more. So, due to COVID, we ain't got to go there. There became more of a notice and seen on just the nail industry and practices
Mhm.
and salon practices. And, these salon
Absolutely.
professionals, what does that look like? How are they
Mhm.
taking care of these salons, considering they
Right.
said, I hate to say it, I think believe it was the governor of California who said, that COVID was coming from the nail salons, and who, yeah, that's don't misquote me, but basically that was the rhetoric around it. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
fine. Now, because when they think of the nail industry, they think of Asian culture, and now that taints the rest of the industry. However, it put an eye on it where nail education and just safe practices, nail tips, all these different things. It's definitely
Mhm.
heightened, and I love it, and people are already taking pride in it. But then there's also it's given opportunity to educators who's already been talking about it. It's blown them
Right.
up even more. So I
Mhm.
mean, I love it. I think it's a super essential. And considering that we are a B2C platform versus a lot of other nail platforms or nail magazines, they're very B2B as far as like being directly within the industry or to, the nail artist. So considering we are a
Mhm.
B2C, we have consumers who want to know, they want to be educated. So it's very important that we're able to talk about that.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, why do you think that nails have become such a huge staple in pop culture, art, and fashion, like in your perspective?
I mean, because she's the it girl right now,
Right.
every 10 years there's a new cycle of something.
Mhm.
And again, going back to COVID, first of prior to COVID, it was already hitting. Like the girls was like really, really about it because they have Instagram, where you
Mhm.
have the Gen Zers, the millennials going to Instagram a good 4 to 5 years ago, where it was
Mhm.
already really picking up. And then I wasn't the only girl. Like you have the other girls and the guys, getting their nails done, talking about it, sharing that experience. But for this more of the newer generation, they were able to leave the Facebook platform and come over to Instagram where they're able to be, way more noticeable. And then fast forward, you have this whole situation with COVID. So it's
Right.
shining an even bigger light on the nail industry where you want to look at it as good or bad. PR is PR,
Right.
right? But it gave opportunity to, okay, now I want to know as a consumer, who's the nail artist that's doing it,
Right.
whether they from their home or
Mhm.
like their own just personal, workstation, like what does that look like? I think
Mhm.
that people also investing more of their time and realizing that, hey, um nails is just as much of a luxury, and it's easier for me to get braids or to do my own hair and throw some lashes on versus
Mhm.
doing my own nails. And I think people are just really they're really becoming about it. And we've seen
Hmm.
such an uptick in men and their nails,
Hmm.
right? And then you've seen so many different guys who are also getting into the nail industry on the professional side. Look at all these
Right.
different brands that have been popping up that men are owning. So,
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, what are some things aside from the education that you like about within the nail industry? What do you think sets the nail industry so apart from all the other aspects of the beauty industry?
well, I think you could just do a little bit more with it. I mean, I think you do a little bit more with it. It was like when you asked it, I thought about like now a huge trend is like the girls and guys are using their makeup palettes as
Mhm.
airbrushing on their nails. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I can put my makeup palette on my nails, but I'm not putting a nail polish on my face, right? So
Right.
I think people are just, they're more interesting in it. It's fun, it's different. They
Mhm.
want to be bold. I think there's, this misconception of what nails were before it's leaving. Like no one's even
Right.
thinking about that. And that's a conversation on its own, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
right.
but I think just people are being more open and accepted to it. And I think we're just also living in different times.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely want to go ahead and push forward and talk about you have held some events in terms of NailCon. You did
Yes.
mention that earlier in this interview, but I also want to touch on the exhibition that you held in New York as recently called Without Us, which
Yes.
featured Melissa Samuel, Vanessa Claus, Telly Talons, Honey Nails, and also Nail Glam. So I definitely want you to talk about the campaign and why you started the exhibition, excuse me, and also, why was it important for you to hold that exhibition?
It was something I wanted to do. So,
Mhm.
one thing about my process, literally my process for NailCon is I'm still a consumer at the end of the day. I may be the CEO behind this brand, but the way things come to mind is me thinking always as a consumer, what is missing? What do I wish I had? What do I wish
Mhm.
I could send and go to,
Right.
and how can I utilize my resources? So I knew prior to just everything that we have going on with NailCon, I knew I wanted to do something different, something fun, something
Mhm.
bold. Right now, we're living in a very like everything is 3D, immersive, interactive. Everybody
Right.
is just about that, feeling like they're in the scene while being in the scene. And
Right.
that's New York, right? Like we can't
Yeah.
deny that.
Yeah.
And I just said I want to do something really cool. And interesting enough, I mean, I actually started this project in like October, late October, early November of last year. And it
Mm.
took to this point to get it done. But I just knew I was like, I want to attend an immersive gallery. And I didn't even know it was going to be an immersive gallery, right? I think that's the beautiful thing about projects. When you see them through, it's so interesting to see how it turns. But I just knew it was also really important to be able to tell some really good stories on some really great women in New York. New York is a really great scene when it comes down to the nail industry, and they have the girls and it's all about getting from behind the chair. You're hearing a lot of that conversation in the nail industry. And
Right.
for me, I wanted to be able to inspire, aspire. And funny enough, we also brought in a group of middle school girls, sixth, seventh, eighth grade.
Mhm.
And that to me was like the most beautiful part of being able to do this gallery, to be able to inspire them and show them. And I mean, these little girls, first of all, their nails are already dead. Okay, like dead.
Right.
And they're like, one little girl, she said to her mom, she's like, Mommy, I want to be a nail designer. Like these girls, they're not saying artists, they're already thinking to the next level of it because they already see the opportunity that is in it. And they
Right.
get it already. The younger generation, they're just, I love them. Like their wave is
Mhm.
so different. So I knew that it was like my place to be able to put that on. And I'm like, okay, like I said, I'm always thinking as a consumer. And I was like, I think this would be so cool. And we didn't even know that we were going to even do a docu piece. Like I knew that's what I wanted, but I didn't know if it was going to happen, but it
Mhm.
just really came together. And I thought it was really, really important for people to be able to hear from these nail artists that you know who they are, but you never know who they are until you're like, oh, once you see their face, and then you're like, oh, that's who they are. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like we only
Mhm.
get to see their work and their name. We never get to see their faces, hear their voices, see what they
Mhm.
really have going on, see their day to day because they're always working. So I
Right.
was like, okay, well, I'll do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, that's really cool because I like how you highlighted Black nail artists, but also
Yeah.
too, with the middle schoolers, they could look up to them, but also too, like, that's what I'm seeing now also with some, teens are in 15, 16,
Oh
17,
yeah.
18, jumping into nails, and some are really good at it. You
Oh
know
my
what I
gosh.
mean?
How about this? One of the girls, she's an eighth grader. Well, she just graduated. She's going into high school, but she does everyone's nails. She does everyone's nails. She already has her kit, every little thing. And
Wow.
funny enough, I also did. I went to school to do a, career day,
Hmm.
and they had me talk to her, and I was like, this girl is so like, they're forward thinkers. And you got to think, they're also about, they understand business culture now. They have
Hmm.
this touch on entrepreneurship and the education and knowledge behind it that, I mean, I didn't at their age for a fact. So
Hmm.
I mean, these girls, these kids, they're getting into it. So I know for a fact, like nails, what it
Hmm.
is right now, what we're seeing right now and what nails will be for is definitely going to be for like the future. And
Yeah,
it's already hitting on
absolutely.
that wave.
Yeah, and the thing is technology is more advanced and we live so much more in a social media
Absolutely.
digital era. And so,
Hmm.
there's teen, young girls that are taking advantage of social media and
Oh
also
yeah.
really putting out their nail art and things like that. And that's cool to really see. And that reminds me of
Oh
me
yeah.
when I was like 14, 13. I got into nails at that young age, you know what I mean? So, it was all because my dad asked me that question, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I want to do nails. And he said, if this is what you want to do, you gotta be the best at it. So that's what stuck
I
with me
know
ever
that's
since then.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
I love that.
I've been doing nails since I was like 14 years old. So that's really cool to see the youth really taking advantage of that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, they are, it's beyond taking advantage. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's
Right.
so cool.
Yeah.
And they see
Very
it for
cool.
what it is. They see the business side, they see the creative, they see the
Hmm.
branding. Like these little girls and guys, they get it. They got it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Most definitely. Now, in regards to the nail industry, I definitely want to, ask your perspective on this. Um, do you think Black women, including Black nail techs and Black nail artists, get their credibility in the nail industry? Why not?
Right now, I truly believe they are. Like, I
Hmm.
believe they are. You're definitely seeing way more editorial, and campaign black nail artists, celebrity nail artists. You're seeing so many different levels of it.
Hmm.
And you're starting to see more of, but whether it's editorial or, photographers, whatever, they're shouting these nail artists out. They're really being put out there. So I think there's definitely a different level, and you're seeing even more of them behind the scenes who are black, and that's what I think is really great. And you're seeing it from coast to coast, right?
Hmm.
So I definitely would say there's way more of a shine. I'm always hearing different conversations which just needs to be had as far as the contribution black women and the black culture in general has made to the industry. What does that look like? And I love hearing the conversations. I love hearing people's perspective, and to me it's extremely important.
Right.
I feel so honored and blessed. No, I'm not a nail artist. I've never done nails, but I feel very blessed as
Hmm.
a black woman to be behind this platform, to be a vessel behind this platform, to be able to let our voices ring, but at the
Right.
same time be an advocate for other voices as well. Because at the end of the day, it's like it's still a black girl running the show. So for me, it's like I'm gonna always take care of mine, but still
Hmm.
go about business the right way.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, in regards also to the nail industry, like what are some things that could be improved within the nail industry, you think?
Oh, a lot. I would definitely say government regulations. I feel like there just needs to be a standard across the board, especially within the US. I think that that's really big. I think they need to be assessing these salons. I
Hmm.
just feel like on the government side, they need to come in and be more of an advocate and a partner. There's a lot happening in these salons, and no one's really talking about it, from trafficking to all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
And I just think if we had a better, tighter structure, and it's like I said, completely across the board, that'd be a one way to not only crack down on a lot of the crime that's happening behind the scenes, but also
Hmm.
again put in better safety measures and
Hmm.
actually create a cleaner, safer culture. So that's definitely
Hmm.
like my top.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. A very clean and safe environment is very, very important.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go ahead and move forward and talk about like your style. Like if you had the Jazmin, like how would you describe the Jazmin Gresham style if you had to describe it?
Oh, fly. Fly. That's all I got. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like that's it. I think anybody who's met me, they would all agree. I love wearing clothes. I never thought I would get into fashion, right? Like I never thought I'd be this creative girl. Everything that I'm doing, absolutely not. Like I wanted to be a dermatologist. I wanted to be a doctor. So it's
Mm.
like it's so education has always been really big for me. So it's like when going into college initially, I wanted to be a dermatologist, and then find things grew, and I
Hmm.
started changing, right, as everyone else. But
Hmm.
education and being business minded has always been my thing.
Right.
But fashion and style is just, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, oh, I could put this with this and that with that. And I
Right.
really do attribute that to my grandmother, my mom, and my aunt. So they're
Wow.
flies. So it's like, and being able to try different things and feel good about it. It's like, oh, I love clothes. They're fun.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, me too. I
So
love
it would
wearing
be fly.
sneakers, you know?
Yes, sneakers, heels. Oh my gosh. Like it was so funny. I
Mhm.
did a dinner not too long ago, and everybody's like, oh, I'm dressing super chill. And it's like, yeah, I'm be chill. And one of my girlfriends, she just
Right.
started cracking up because she knew. But yeah, I would just say fly.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Now, how would you define beauty?
What you make it. And
Hmm.
that's the truth. And I say that because especially as women, we're just we're putting our bodies and our minds so much through so many different things, and as far as media, there's so much being thrown
Hmm.
at us of what it should
Right.
look like, how it should be.
Right.
And I really do say what you make it, because I want people to feel good about themselves.
Hmm.
But at the
Absolutely.
same time, you gotta get a little nip and tuck, a little Botox here, there, whatever you gotta do, by all means, do you. But
Hmm.
I definitely, yeah, because I just want people to be happy and people to be safe. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
so what you
absolutely.
get.
And I like with society now, like, people are breaking Eurocentric beauty standards and it's more inclusive now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You think so? I don't
I think so.
know. Okay. Like I don't know, because and I say that because I'm like, wow, like people are going crazy with this Botox, and even though it's like, yeah, you can think, women of color, thicker, fuller, bigger lips, but like the way they're getting their lips done is still very Eurocentric.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. That's why I said it's what you make it.
Hmm. Yeah, right. I definitely want to get into this question. If you had a top five list of your favorite nail artists, who would they be and why?
Oh, this is unfair. I don't like this question. This is an unfair question. But I would definitely say my number one. I don't know if I necessarily have a top five because I love
Hmm.
all these nail artists, but
Hmm.
I would say just like, oh my gosh, this is a hard question. I feel like I'm not supposed to answer this. Custom T, that's my
Hmm.
girl, hands down. That's my girl.
Yeah, Tamika.
My girl. Love her down. Um, who else would it be? Who else would it be? Love me some Dana Cody.
Hmm.
I feel so bad at taking so long to answer these. But I just feel like I just want to be so careful. But I love me some Dana Cody. She's an old school nail artist. I'm not too sure if you know who she is.
Mm-mm.
She used to be really, really big in the nail game back in the day, especially in Miami. She has a really great story. She
Hmm.
started out in nails with her mom.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's Custom T, Dana Cody. Um, Poochie has given me some really, really great advice.
Hmm. Pooch's nails.
Yes, Fuji's down. She's a really great businesswoman,
Hmm.
and she gives like really, really great advice. Honey Nails.
Hmm.
Sorry it took so long to think of her. My bad, honey. That's my girl. Like that is my girl. Like hands
Mhm,
down. If she needed me to fly, whatever, I she knows I got her.
mhm,
Like that is my girl. Honey now, she's everything.
mhm.
Is that five?
That's like 4, I think.
Four. Okay. And then I would say, man, you know, Passport Nails, Miss Felicia.
Mm-mm.
She's amazing. She's a teacher.
Mhm.
She was with Christine Balmy. Now she's doing her own thing, but she's also a certified state board prep educator.
Wow.
So she takes you through the whole, New York State Board process, the whole nine. She's
Mhm,
also somebody, again, she's certified. So we talk a lot. She puts me on a lot of game, and that's why now education is so important to me. Like I have somebody right
mhm.
there who's
Right.
able to just really help me understand it and walk me through it.
I
So
think I
yeah.
heard of her. Passport
Yeah,
Nails, I think?
Passport Nails. She's everything. I have so
Mhm.
many more people that I love. I love all these nail artists that I come
Right.
across.
Mhm.
I got shout out to Natalie Minerva, Spifster. She's here in
Yes, sister.
Chicago. Oh my God. Who else do I love? I love me some D Malone. Oh my God. Oh,
The
there's a
editorial
lot of
nail.
she's really great. Her work is really good. It's so many.
Right,
It's
yeah.
so many.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard to name, it's so many, yeah.
It's so many.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Like
totally
so
understandable.
unfair. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely
so
wanna push
hard.
forward and really ask, how do you balance everyday life with being a beauty and media entrepreneur?
List. I make a list for everything. I kick off my week on Sunday evenings.
Mhm,
I am making a list for the week of what needs to get done because I have so much on my plate and NailCon isn't just my full-time thing. I am a creative producer. That's my actual job. So I
mhm,
have to be very prioritized. I have to be truly in sync with my team. I do have a team that really keeps me going. I'm very transparent and honest with them and what I need. I lean on them. I'm really
mhm,
big into delegating.
mhm.
And what's really helped me a lot when creating lists is I block out on my calendar. I block out time of what I'm going to get what done and how much time I'm going to give myself.
Mhm.
So, which is like honestly, that's how it's always worked for me. But then,
Mhm.
just doing my research, but like a lot
Right.
of super successful people, that's what they do. They block their times and that's how they do their task management.
Mhm.
So even if I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna work on nail con to dos, then I already made my list of nail con to dos and I just knock it
Right.
out. So
Mhm.
that's what I do. I'm all about lists and I'm all about
Mhm.
deadlines
Right.
and having that close knit bond with my team. So yeah, list.
Yeah, absolutely. Most definitely. Now, I definitely want to get into this question. Speaking of team, how important is it in terms of business and entrepreneurship to have a team? How important is that?
Very important, like extremely important, but at the same time, as much as important as to have a team, be able to understand and know every function of your team.
Right.
That means every department you should know how to run it because it may come a point in time where you don't have all these people, to be a part of every little process. It's just going to be you. You need to know how to, you need to understand the functionality of your corporation, of your organization, and what needs to get done. And that's where lists come into
Right.
play. And
Mhm.
on top of breaking out my structure in the day, because sometimes I do have to
Mhm.
focus on the logistics or I do have to focus on road mapping
Mhm.
for
Absolutely.
2024, and that's normally an operations person. That's what they do.
Right.
So yeah, having a team is very essential. I'm very blessed to be able to have a team who's very
Mhm.
supportive, and sometimes
Mhm.
we understand we're a startup, so you got to be able to roll
Absolutely.
up your sleeves. And
Mhm.
to me, it's even more important to have a team who works just as hard as me.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Like simple.
Yeah,
Like you
absolutely.
have, yes, you have to be able to work as hard as me because I can work hard. So
Yes.
very essential.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, where could people find you on social media and how can people support and contribute to Nelcon?
Yes. So you can definitely find us on all socials. We're Nailcon, except on Twitter, we're Nailcon World. And on TikTok, we're Nailcon World. But you can definitely find our Instagram, Nailcon. You can subscribe to our email list. You can go straight to our page. Click
Mm-hmm.
on nailconmedia.com to subscribe to our email list for all the latest content, editorial content. And yeah, and if you're looking for me directly, you can still go to NailCon and look under our bio, and you'll see my.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Jazmin, for jumping onto the show. I
Thank
love what you're
you.
doing with Nailcon. I love how you did the Without Us campaign, shouting out the 4 Black nail artists and things like that. And I love what you're doing. So keep doing what you're doing. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
this conversation. Just thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Have a nice one.
Thank you. Yes, same to you. Bye bye. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the bell for notifications. Also, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Be sure to check out my website, ASIATHABIRD.com, and be on the lookout for more interviews to come very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. Bye bye.